Hello,
Hello,
and
and
welcome
welcome
to
to
Geeked
Geeked
Out
Out
Gaming.
Gaming.
I'm Austin,
And I'm Susan,
and
we
we
are
are
geeks.
geeks. In this episode, we will be talking about our game design outline, which we will be using over the summer to help us complete our game. As we build our game, we would like to invite you to join us in designing your very own game to rule them all. And if you so desire, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Now that we're done with that shameless plug, how about you take us away, Susan?
Take us away. Our outline is split into three parts: branding, prototyping, and marketing. Branding is all about who wants to play your game, and we do this by identifying a theme, your ideal board game geek, and the overall look of your game. The theme is what guides your future decisions, and also what people most notice about your game. A good example of a theme comes from the board game Trolls and Princesses, where in the game, all of your actions are what a troll would do in mythology. In Norse mythology, trolls live in cavernous mountains, and they hate the sound of bells. They steal babies and are enamored by fair maidens. To score points in this game, you need to collect sets of outposts, changelings, and bells, while also collecting those fair maidens.
Now let's talk about your board game geek for a second. And no, we're not talking about the circus performer who eats the head off of chickens. Are you alright?
Yeah, fine.
We're just talking about the person who buys your game and just can't stop telling everyone else about it, at least not until your ears are bleeding. Now's a good time to talk about my brother Josh, who coincidentally is also our first subscriber. This comment may or may not have been said under duress. Anyway, he has this board game called Blood on the Clock Tower. It's much like the bigger and better version of Mafia, at least if you ask him. Whenever we get together in a big enough group, he somehow manages to get a group together and play the board game, no matter how many people don't want to.
After figuring out your theme and your ideal board game geek, you're going to want to start thinking about your artwork. Now, artwork is what drives the theme home and what also brings in your board game geeks to want to play the game. Now, on the subject of artwork, we're going to talk about Munchkins. Munchkins is a board game about tabletop roleplay games, and as you can see from this cartoonish character on the front, they are basically making fun of tabletop roleplay games. Because this character has a lot of items on him that he should not be able to carry comfortably. He has this giant... What's wrong?
It looks like my D&D character. Are you saying my D&D character looks funny?
Yes. Yes, I'm saying that, yeah. I'm sorry. So as you can see, this very small character is carrying about 4 different weapons. He has a chainsaw, he has a giant hammer, a sword, and a mace. Well, actually, no, that's not a mace. That's the shoulder armor. And he also has a giant horned helmet and boots of butt kicking. But as you can see, this cartoony style brings home the goofiness of the theme of the game. And that's why a lot of people like this game, is because they have it's just really fun. It's just a really funny game.
But it makes fun of my D&D character.
You should change your D&D character.
Now that we know a little bit about branding, let's talk about prototyping. Prototyping is all about building your board game in small chunks. You want to start out with your mechanics, which are kind of like the nuts and bolts in an engine to your car. Alone, they aren't very impressive, but as you put them together, you slowly build the beating heart of your board game. After you pick some mechanics out, start to mess around with them, put them together in different ways, and as you do so, you'll slowly develop your concept board game. Your concept board game should not be anything fancy. It should be something basic, probably with pieces of paper cut out to represent board game pieces. The reason why we do this is to allow for rapid prototyping. The more time we spend in the beginning, the more likely it is we're going to change something that we've spent hours on. Anyway, after we've built up our concept board game, you want to go ahead and just start playtesting it. You want to see what mechanics work, what mechanics don't. Maybe you need to add a whole new mechanic. I don't know. That's what playtesting's all about. As you playtest, slowly start to refine your board game. You maybe start out to print out pieces and cut along a more defined lines. Maybe you make 3D models and start to print them out on a 3D printer or cut them out on a CNC. Or you start using something like Tabletop Simulator and go the digital route of designing your board game. That's all up to you, honestly. But eventually, over hours upon hours of practice, you end up with a beautiful board game, and that's what prototyping is all about.
The final step, which you only need to take if you want to sell your board game, is marketing. The greatest board game is not as successful as the most known board game. Now, I want you to think of a board game. Did you think of chess? Maybe checkers? Possibly even Monopoly?
Hey, Susan, chess is opened up on my laptop right now.
I know. You won't stop playing it. But if you did think of one of those three games, you would be in the vast majority of people who think of those games as the most classic board games, and they would be right. If you were out shopping for your first board game, you would probably pick one of those three games because everyone knows those games and you don't have to teach anyone how to play it. Now, to make your board game more well known, you need to cut through the noise. You're trying to get the attention of your board game geek so that they know that you exist and your board game exists, so that they'll buy your game. To do this, you need to know what they like, where do they go, what they want most, and how they like to be talked to. Building this understanding with your board game geek can help you design better ads for your board game geek, and also knowing what influencers on YouTube you should send your board game to so that they can play it and spread the word about your game to their audiences. That's our board game outline. Thanks for watching. Geeks out!